Welcome to Dark Sorcery. This is Alfredo Martinez, and I have Ikela Morningstar with me. And welcome to another episode of DreamCatcherz. And this week's topic is ritual work. And so, yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting video. And as far as ritual work goes, I think that's ritual work is good for as far as learning to work with energy, raising energy, saying it out. You may have seen my altar setup. I use the elements a lot in my setup, but I think that it's something that should be done often. And what's your take on that?
Sorry, I was getting a little distracted from
Oh, that's fine. You can.
my little mini me. I was like, go back.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, I mean, I have a lot to say about ritual work. We had a member today talk about how they went through the transition, and I think many of us have, where we were Christian or whatever, and we didn't feel a connection with God. But this particular member said they also have not been able to connect to a god or goddess.
Mm-hmm.
I found that very interesting because I also do not connect with a god or a goddess. If I do workings, every now and again I'll work with Hecate, but I don't work with most deities. I work alone, and I depend on my own powers on probably at least 90% of my spells. And what I noticed was that I found that to be very unique, because most people depend on deities to do their work, and I don't. And I'm a very simple type of ritualistic person. So I'll have the most simplest things. And what I found was funny was, like, when you're first coming to this, you research it, and they're like, spin on your head 3 times, burn the candle wax 15 times, jump around the altar 15 times, and then say Hail Mary backwards 3 times. You know what I mean? And you can really get caught up in stuff that other people are saying to do. And the point that I thought was funny was that you need to write your own stuff. And all the stuff that we are doing, like whether, and we touched on this last week, which is the candle color, the symbols that you use, the incantation, whatever symbols you're using on your altars to tap into your subconscious. So what do you relate, this candle color with, or what do you relate this to with? Because we all relate different things to different things. And I'm sorry I'm sweating. It's fucking hot.
Right.
It's hot.
That's fine. That's. But yeah, it's and I do think it's one of those things where people can get caught up in trying to do other people's magic, and in a way that can stunt their growth. Because, okay, let's say you're learning from books and from, I don't know, it might have been from anywhere else, and you're learning other people's magic. Yeah, that can help you get started. Eventually, you're going to have to find your own magic, what works for you. As far as deities go, me in particular, I have a long history of working with different deities. I also do personal energy work, but at the moment, I'm being taught by certain spirits, and so it's a constant thing for me to be contacting these spirits and working with them, and in fact, some of them have me in certain areas of study right now for a specific reason. But everybody's path is different, and I think that's great that most of your spell work is with your own energy work, and it's something that you can't say that a certain way is right or a certain way is wrong, because, like you said, ultimately it is about tapping into your conscious. Everything you have on your altar is interacting with your conscious and bringing it forth into this plane. But yeah, I like that take on that. As far as using, when you're working with your energy work, do you tend to use a lot of herbs, or a lot of oils, or anything like that, or is there a certain unique way you have of using energy?
No, and that's a great question. I do not use hardly anything. And the reason I don't is because I solely am depending on my own energy. So a lot of my magic depends on my imagination, on what I'm able
Mm.
to create in my mind. And we've had a conversation in the admin group about something unlocking inside of me. So I haven't done a ritual in a while, but I have made shit
Mm.
happen in my mind just from the
Mm-hmm.
sole fact that I thought of it. It's been an exciting, scary journey, I guess, because I've had stuff happen that ultimately I didn't really want to happen, but I've had to be very cautiously aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
My success rate on spells, and I'm not even joking, is a very high rate. I've only had 2 spells that haven't worked. I've done many spells. And honestly, like, I just try to follow my intuition on it because, again, there's so much out there. There's so many ideas. There's so many spells. Again,
Mm-hmm.
we can be spinning on our head, jumping up and down backwards, saying Hail Marys backwards, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And for real, I mean, honestly, when I first started, it was like, this shit is confusing. Like, what is the base of it? I narrowed it down to what it really is, and ultimately is it's what your intent is. It's ultimately tapping into your subconsciousness, and it's ultimately going to be about visualizing that in your mind because that right there is everything. So what I recommend is do some exercises to tap into your subconscious. Um, you can do meditation, but throughout the day, like I'll visualize stuff, I'll go places, and I remote view all the time. You know, I'll tell people what they're wearing. Just do little exercises like that. I work at a call center, so before someone tells me a date on something, I try to see what that date is before they tell me. Little things like that. I know you. So like with regular playing cards, there's red and black, right? If you try to visualize what's in your hand before you slow it down, that's a good exercise. There's many good exercises, but ultimately, you need to learn how to visualize stuff in your brain because that is the creator. That is your consciousness. That is everything. That is what is creating the magic. All these candles and incense and herbs and all that. Yeah, they add power to it, but ultimately, it's just a symbol. It's a symbol
Mm-hmm.
of your consciousness. So I figured out what the ultimate ingredient was with me, and I've applied that, and I've been very successful with all my spells.
Mm-hmm.
My success rate is so high that I don't I don't go into a spell thinking I'm gonna fail. I know that it's gonna come true. And I've had some crazy ass shit happen. Like what whoa, how the hell that happened? I know I've told you some stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, it will come to you in crazy ways. It'll shake you up. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah. And I like that. I like the fact that, you know, that works for you. You know, me, I'm different. You know, I like to use, you know, herbs, oils, candles, everything, crystals, stones. You know, I have a pretty active setup on my altar. Me personally, I like to, I guess you could say I'm more of a kitchen witch where I like to, you know, mix ingredients together, see what I can come up with, and kind of brainstorm, you know, see what kind of spells I can come up with, the supplies I have on hand. Um, but that's what works for me. Now, you know, the spirits I'm working with may lead me somewhere else, or, you know, my spirit guide may, you know, have me go more solitary. I think eventually I will get to the point where I don't need any of those items. I can just do it all in my mind. But at the moment, that's where I'm at.
No, and
That's where
I
I'm at.
think
But
that's awesome because we are like the way we have always connected has been very great. Like we've had great conversations and stuff, but the way that we do things are completely different. So I feel like I learn from you and you learn from me. And I
mhm.
recommend that anybody that's watching this video stay open minded. Like, okay, if you find a way that you're doing something, always stay open minded to hear somebody else out and be willing to try new things because honestly, there's always something else you can add to your tool belt. You know, we've done rituals together and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah,
one of these shows we can actually do one together. Who knows?
yeah. I'm definitely open to that. I think that, you know, on one episode we should we should do that. We should put that on the list.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah, we're talking about ritual, but we can also, give an example of doing one together, and just kind of, to kind of show, hey, this is how we go about it. As a team, individually, it might be different. But yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. And it's, working with other practitioners is also a blessing, because you do tend to learn from other people. And, it's funny because, your spirit guides, may want to teach you something, but they may show you through somebody else. People come into your lives for different reasons. And, but yeah, that's great. Do you have anything that you'd want to add to that before we go ahead and wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I just want to say, not everybody has the capability to buy all these oils and incense and candles. You can always use a white candle and a simple incense. I recommend definitely working on the visualization.
Yeah.
That is key, and that is the ultimate source of power.
Visualization is key. And you'll notice that in a lot of my videos, I'll stress that a lot. A lot of the spells that I put together and teach people will say, visualize this, visualize that. Because really everything begins in the mind. I mean, that's the birthplace of everything. And when you put a lot of focus on that, and with me, when you put a lot of focus on visualization and combining it with emotion, that's powerful. I always, for some reason, I'm drawn to the flame a lot. I work with the candle flame a lot, the element of fire. And part of my magic is focusing on that candle flame and sending it out there that way. One thing you can do is, as far as raising energy, you can just, make yourself an energy ball at the altar space. With that energy ball, you can set it into the candle flame. You can do different things, whatever you want to do with it. But that's a good starting point to work with. Get an energy ball going, okay, and just let your intuition guide you what to do with that. And I think that's a good start.
Yeah, and for me, so a lot of people talk about this whole protection and opening circles and all this stuff. I don't do that.
Neither do I.
In fact, and we've talked about this before, and I think we should touch on this because I truly believe that whatever you believe is true will become a reality. So if you believe that you need to open some sort of circle to make protection, then that's what you need. But I can tell you one thing, and me and Alfredo have both talked about this, is demons do not like to they don't want to be trapped in. So if you're here and you're interested in working with demons, you do not want to open the circle, because that's just not the way honestly, I don't do any form of protection. I don't need to, because I don't believe I need to. So whatever you believe about yourself and about your magic is ultimately the reality. And I don't.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, as long as you're working with certain spirits and you're doing what you're on top of your game. Your intuition, this is what I'm doing, and this is my mission. If you're working with certain spirits or whatever, they'll see to it that you're protected as long as you're doing what you're supposed to, because they already want to continue to work with you. I understand that some people want to do protection circles, and that may be for their path. Me personally, with us, me and Ikela, not so much. But everybody's different. But that's just the way that we see things.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was important to touch on, because I'm trying to send the message that whatever you believe about your magic and about your intent is ultimately what is going to manifest. So if you don't,
that's very true.
He's going to attack you, and you're protected, and you don't need protection. Damn it! Let me close it. You do not need protection. If you believe that in your mind, you don't need it.
Yeah.
I do curses. I will fuck people's shit up. Nothing happens to me over it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this. But so many people like have this negative look on everything that they, because of, if you research online magic and rituals and all that, it was like,
Right.
I won't curse nobody. I will curse your ass, rock your shit, and I guarantee you nothing will happen to me. Because in my mind, I believe that if somebody's fucking me up or doing something stupid, they had it coming. I am karma. That's what I believe. So ultimately, you need to decide what you believe. Whatever you believe is ultimately what will be manifesting for you. So if you believe you need to create some sort of fucking circle in order to do this magic, because some shit's gonna attack you. If you don't do that fucking circle, guess what? They're gonna attack you.
Well, like the saying goes, the root of suffering is attachment.
Right. Yes. Totally agree.
That's right.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been very informative on ritual work, and I think that it's going to help a lot of people out. Any last words you want to say before we wrap up?
No, and I just enjoy doing the show with you, and I think it's awesome because we do everything quite differently, but we connect, but we do things differently, and I think that's good to show a different side of it. Because if we're like the exact same thing, then we're not really hitting home to the people that really need to hear it, because some people are more like you, some people are more like me, or something might hit home for them, and I just really appreciate that fact. Well,
people, from what I get, people are getting a lot from our show, and I think it's doing really good. And so, yeah, it's people can definitely benefit from what we got to say. Well, I'm Alfredo Martinez, and one of my admins, Ikela Morningstar. Thank you for watching DreamCatcherz. Thank you for watching Dark Sorcery. And until then, dark blessings.
Dark blessings.